5 Church Street, New Haven, to hold a public hearing to hear from public service and other agencies about their proposals concerning LM 2022 CBG, Home Investment Partnership, Home, HOME, Housing Opportunity for Persons with AIDS, HOPWA, HOPWA, Emergency Solutions Grant, ESG. Funds to be submitted to the Department of Housing and Urban Development for federal financial assistance for planning and community development activities under the provisions of Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended. PL 93-383. The Cranston-Gonzalez National Affordable Housing Act of 1990 as amended. PL 101-625. The McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act of 2000 as amended. PL 106-400. The Homeless Emergency Assistance and Rapid Transition to Housing PERF Act of 2009 and the AIDS Housing Opportunity Act of PL 102-550. Hereafter referred to as Housing and Community Development Program Acts, for activities to be funded by program income and or programming funds from prior grant years. These items are on file and available for public inspection in the Office of Legislative Services at 165 Church Street, New Haven, per order Honorable Darrell J. Brackeen Jr. and Honorable Frank Douglas Jr. Co-chairs the test, the Honorable Michael Smart, City Clerk. If you need an accessibility related accommodation, please contact 203-946-7651 voice or 203-946-8582 TTY. In accordance with the City of New Haven, COVID-19 requirements of all attendees must wear masks. Public may send comments to public testimony at newhavenct.gov. At this time, I will introduce the panel, members of the BoA Committee. On my right.
Shelby Cole, Ward 18.
Sarah Hill, Ward 14.
Alex Guzman, Ward 1.
Herman Rodriguez, Ward 6.
Frank Douglas, Ward 2.
Darrell Brackeen, Ward 26.
Devin Absalom Smith, Ward 20.
Stephen Winter, Ward 21.
Kimberly Edwards, Ward 19.
Thank you, committee. Thank you. At this time, we will take public testimony and just from the staff first. Name and address for the record.
Ron Hughes, Community Living Affairs, Office of Management Budget. So we just received our final award. Well, they're posted on the website. We haven't received the official copy, but they did post them on the website. So we did receive a decrease in approximately 4.6%. So it's about 76,000 less than we anticipated. This sheet here. And then the categories are below what the reduction in each category would be. Home funding, we did get an increase in home funding. 200,000. Apple is a small increase, $396, and ESG about 4,000. So that's something we can work on during the amendment process. Any questions on this?
Any questions from the committee? Any questions?
And then this is the spreadsheet that Alderman Winter requested last meeting. You want me to go over this?
Yes.
All right, so the first column is the description of the activity, and I have it sorted by department. The second column is the approved budget for the budget orders. The third column is the carryover balance as of June 30th, 2021. Next column is the programming model. And then the next one is the adjusted budget. Then we have the expended as of today, the encumbered as of today. And then that second to the last column is the program delivery, and that's what's committed to personnel for the rest of the year. And then the last column is the available balance. And then on the last sheet, there's a estimation from LCI, a little bit more detail on the project.
Any questions? Any questions from the committee? Any questions? Questions?
Okay, thanks.
Okay, now, we're gonna begin, tonight's evening. So before we start, I just want to give brief instructions to those that are listening on time. In my hand is a small microphone. It is voice activated, so you will need to raise your voice as loud as you can through the mask. If you are having a really hard time with the mask, when you're presenting only, feel free to lower it. So members of the committee, just make sure to keep the mask on if that does happen. The opposite will happen. So like right now, I have sound, I pull it back up into the coach's bench. That's one. Two, I would like to introduce the cast of characters that will be participating with us during this process. Director of Legislative Services, Al Lucas, will call out the name of each organization. And I know many of you all already know it. Ron Dizzy has already presented. He will likely interject at some point throughout this process if we need it. You've been introduced to the Board of Alders. I'm not sure if we acknowledge our third officer already. Okay, great. Let us, members of the board, you did receive your protocol from the last meeting. Just try to keep that noted. We will go round by round, ensuring everyone can get questions in. Take it away, Mr. Lucas.
Yeah, that's because they have 4 requests, starting on page 76. There's 3 requests on page 76.
What was that?
Yes.
Yes,
Downtown,
page 76, and I request my co-chair who are asking, please don't see 4 minutes. Many of you, we are very much familiar with the work. If you're new, we might not believe so. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Steve Warren, 24 alternate. I actually have 3 proposals that went through the process, and I'm not entirely sure which you'd like to hear about today. They're all CDBG. I know that all 3 were actually in the recommendations of the mayor's office, so I'm not sure which one you have. Should I talk about it? I'll go quickly.
Okay.
And I'll spare the introduction because I think everybody is already familiar with our organization, we do kind of have our feed two worlds of food assistance, serving those experiencing food security, as well as homeless services here in New Haven. So the three programs, the first of which is our program. It's a flagship program that we've been doing for 35 years. And city has been funding this CDBG program for a number of years. The amount recommended by the mayor's office was $10,000. The second program is a newer program that was just launched last year. It was originally funded by a combination of funds through public and private entities, including the Office Safe Summers program and general funds to the last year. And this is our drop-in center program, drop-in resource center, serving people who are experiencing unsheltered homelessness for a variety of services troops spoken about before. And the third project is a new project that together is a new venture as an insurance program with partners, those and fishes. It was part of our pantry program, but this it builds upon some of the work that we did early in the pandemic through the coordinated food assistance network when we started doing delivery pantry services. And so this kind of takes a piece of that and does just a very small targeted delivery service to hospital complex in Western. And I'm happy to answer questions on any or all of these.
Do members of the committee have any questions? Alderman Moore.
Mr. Chair. Could you speak a little bit more about project results and fishes and speak to some of the challenges that you saw during the heat of the pandemic when it came to volume and perhaps lack of resources and how these services impacted communities?
That's a great question. There were really two problems that we dealt with first year of the pandemic. This first delivery program called Pantry was taking place. The first was the most immediate need that we faced when people were told to stay home and stay safe. And we had, prior to 160 households coming to just our pantry, let alone the 2,000 other pantries across the city each week. And a lot of them were compromising people over 65. And so we had to find a way to get food out to them very quickly. So we stood up a delivery program as part of a partnership with the Coordinated Food Assistance Network, one of the primary partners between Loaves and Fishes with us. And so we felt it was a natural outgrowth of that partner with them again for this program. And then the other piece of this, which I think is what we're getting at, is the economic fallout we saw people not working, which has increased the volume of people that we've seen at our Napa pantry for the past 12 months. And I think it speaks to the need of overall need across the state as well.
Any other questions from members of the committee? Alderman.
When people for the drop-in center, do you have any data on what neighborhoods people come from?
Yeah, that's a great question. When we're talking about the population, in the past, as part of the process, we've been asked to go to the community management to the neighborhood that we serve, and we see service every single neighborhood. People are coming to us for dinner program, usually coming to dinner program every single neighborhood. Part of that is the result of our location downtown, where the center of our hub and spoke people are just coming from all over. And we're finding that to be also the case with the drop-in center, that people are coming from all over the city. With that said, downtown does tend to be the center of homelessness and is the highest concentration. We see pockets elsewhere in the city, of course, but we see the highest concentration in around.
I'd like to acknowledge a member of the committee, Alderman and Alderman Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want a little clarification on your partnership with Loaves and Fishes as far as the delivery concept to the apartment complexes. Is there one complex, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the two we were looking at, one was on Valley Streets in West Rock, the other one is the Salvatino complex in Worcester Square. Loaves and Fishes has been delivering to the latter, because it's very close to them, they were just walking the food over there. They don't have a vehicle, we have a vehicle. So this is how the partnership is basically going to work. They'll be providing most of the volunteers and the food will be providing transportation.
Thank you.
Any members of the committee? Have any questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. Oh, okay.
You also have emergency shelter grants, you know, wasn't funded, but you would like to talk about that?
Now we just I know they speak about that as well. We had submitted an application for the emergency solutions grant as well. This is our first time submitting for that. Mostly because the drop-in center, this is the second year the drop-in center is in operation. And so the program being offered there really is so important directly to services needed for the emergency solutions grant program. What we proposed is a what we call client engagement specialist, doing very similar work to what outreach workers and youth managers are doing. But unlike outreach workers, client engagement specialists would be located on site, would be going out to outreach, doing those services in the space that we're operating in the office. It's great, but that's our.
Any questions from members of the committee concerning the matter? Seeing none.
That's on page 91.
Oh, that's
Page
on page
91,
91. All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
Our kids are like,
Our kids. Is page 86.
our kids.
Our kids, oh. Page
86.
86.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Randy Ruben Rodriguez. You hear me?
The microphone?
I'm Randy Ruben Rodriguez.
Can you?
This-
Yep.
Randy Ruben Rodriguez from Our Kids Family Center, 45 Dixwell Avenue, New Haven. And I'm here representing Our Kids Family Center and our application for our after-school program for youth who are residing in foster. I'm also, I wasn't sure how many people were on the committee, and some I think I gave last year, or pamphlets, but I'd love to circulate those around. And I think each of you already has one. And I'd also like to circulate our community ribbon cutting invitation for June 24th, which I'm very grateful to this committee having supported us last year for our security system, which is now fully installed. We received our certificate of occupancy and we're still unpacking the pot. Our after-school program is designed specifically for issues that are experienced by children who are in out-of-home placement, be it in foster care, kinship care, or sickness care. We have found nationally, only 50% of children who reside in foster care graduate high school. Residing in foster care is one of the major risk factors for adult incarceration. So it's definitely a pipeline reality for our children. Although our current DCF commissioner has done a great job moving children into familiar environments, i.e. families, kin, it is still a traumatic experience to be removed from your home, regardless of what the circumstances. Our after-school program is specifically designed to help children, both educationally, with tutorial services, and hopefully this year we will have a teacher who currently is looking to take for bed and has agreed to work with us after school. So we do the tutorial piece as well as each group has their own emotional support program. focus on working through issues unique to children who are residing in foster care and having to develop peer relationships with children who are living in their own homes. Having been a foster parent for 10 years and had almost 50 children, mostly teens, come through our home, I can share with you that it is very, very difficult for these kids to develop relationships in schools, particularly if they've been dislocated from one school system to the other, which theoretically is not supposed to happen, but in reality does. Unfortunately, there aren't enough foster parents necessarily in neighborhoods or in communities even to support our children remaining as close to home and in their natural environments as possible. Given that school is the majority place for our kids to be and be impacted by, we received a major challenge this past year, program and COVID. So much of our group work has been done through Zoom. Self-care workshops have been done through Zoom, which last year our girls really did enjoy and found that to be very, very helpful for them to deal with the stressors they were experiencing. We're expanding to boys this year. And so we hope that you will see it within your authority to consider funding 50% of
Any questions from members of the committee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At present, approximately how many youths are you able to serve under the after-school program?
So we are currently looking at keeping the numbers down to a maximum of 8 children per group, which is basically a total of 16, and we work with them throughout the entire year. We have found that these children do not do well in large groups, and there are too many pre-existing psychiatric situations that really interfere with them socializing in a larger group and really being able to share some of those experiences.
Any other questions from members of the committee? Seeing none, looking forward to it.
Thank you. I hope to see all of you there. We're looking forward to it also. Can I leave these with you and you can pass them out in the community? Thank you so much.
Christian community action.
Seventy-three.
We say your name and
My name is Louise Brooks. My address is 675 Townsend Avenue in New England, and I'm the executive director of Christian Community Action. I've been there for longer than I want to admit, but it's been a good experience. So I'm here today to really talk about 2 things. One is our 50th anniversary is this year, and we have had a number of different things that we wanted to do to be able to strengthen and expand our efforts. Not just to provide emergency shelter, as important as that is, for families. Not just to have food pantry, because that's important, and energy assistance. But really, our goal is to try to create some stability for families and to allow them to, as we often say, to promote independence. And the 2 proposals that were submitted for your consideration had to do with what's called our Rise Center. I'm an ordained minister, so I come up with religious words, and I turn them into acronyms sometimes. So this one means access and resources for independence, skill building, and employment. One of the positions in the application is really for employment services, because what we know is that some of the families that we serve in October and in the Hill section of New England need to have that opportunity to seek employment and get training. The other one is the New Hope program, another acronym. It's housing opportunities, purpose, and expectations that our former stepping stones, that it is still in process, but we are hopeful that we'll be able to launch that so the families can actually have the opportunity to have that extra step, to take that extra step. And the family coach position is really to help make that happen. Those are the two things that I wanted to share. I'm open to questions. And that's really what I think we would share my story. Thank you. Share our story, excuse me.
Thank you. Any questions from members of the committee? I see you have one. You spoke about kids, and I believe you're aware of the mayor's proposal. If this committee could identify a number that, like, in our deliberations, what would that number, could it number be? Being that we just had a $176,000 decrease, but if there was something, what could we at least?
Well, I'm gonna do it in partial, and then I'll come up with the total. With the pre-removal program, there are 18 families, and so the average size is somewhere around 4. You take that to be about 64 families that will be affected on an annual basis. Within our new vote program, it's people in the shelter as well as people in the section of in particular, but not exclusively, because that's where our office is located. It probably would be upwards of about 100 families. What we want to be able to do, just as an example, is to take some of the folks who come in for energy assistance and to work with them and talk with them and engage in a conversation about other ways to be able to make it so that they didn't have to rely on the fuel assistance program. And I guess if it is, it's not all that it could be. So I would say probably about 150.
Any other questions from members of the committee? Okay, seeing that, thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity and have a good rest of the meeting. Thank you.
I believe city seat check,
City C.
page 74 and 75.
874, that's 875. Good evening. This evening,
Hi, I'm Courtney Merton, 817 Grand Avenue. I'm Executive Director of CDC. I did bring some copies, but I didn't know how many people would be here, so it's good. Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. I just wanted to confirm that I should speak about both applications. Okay. My name is Courtney Merton, I'm the Executive Director of CDC. We've been at the organization since 2004, and we run 3 group-based programs that promote economic development, community development, and sustainable agriculture, including community farmers markets, sanctuary and city communities. This year we applied for 2 CDBG grants to support 2 of our programs, farmers markets and sanctuary kitchen. Both applications were supported by the community management team, which we're grateful for. So first, we'll speak about the farmers markets. We requested $27,000 roughly to really strengthen and expand our network of farmers markets this season. They are really important community resources that have responded to the pandemic in 2 ways. During the course of the pandemic, our markets were deemed an essential service by executive order by the governor. As a food security strategy in the face of rising food insecurity rates and across the state. Despite the pandemic, we saw 50,000 customers attend our markets across the city. We also saw a really dramatic rise in snack and food stamp redemption. So in 2020, redemption doubled, and last year we continued to see record high redemption of SNAP benefits, totaling more than $56,000 across the markets. We responded to that by offering unlimited doubling of SNAP at all our markets and removing the cap on that, and so that was a new cost for CDC. I anyone who comes to the market to buy fresh produce can potentially double what they're able to get at the market. We also accept other nutrition programs for vulnerable children, families, and seniors especially. And we continue to see record-setting levels of redemption of those programs for the past 2 years. So the requested funds are really going to support city supermarkets in responding to increased food insecurity that remains a lasting impact of the pandemic and expanding our market locations as well. This year we will host 4 market locations across the city, including downtown, Wilson Square, Edward Park, and the New Market location in Dixon in partnership with Q House. The majority of the funding is really going to be used to support that expansion, especially wages for citizens staff that operate in those markets. All of our market employees are new residents who can operate, promote, staff those markets. Additionally, there will be significant cost of permitting to run those markets on city and property through our partnerships with the Parks Department and the Department of Education. Some of that because we have to switch locations of our market during COVID-19 to accommodate social distancing and be able to spread out so we can operate those markets safely. So that's the farmers market piece. I'll move on to the request that we submitted for Sanctuary Kitchen, about $32,000. Sanctuary Kitchen was formed in 2017 to partner with refugees and immigrants to build economic opportunity and authentic connections through food. We have catering, beach products, but we're supporting employment, professional training, integration of refugees and immigrants into food. The program has made a really significant impact over the past 5 years. Since launching, we put nearly $500,000 above market wages directly into the pockets of refugees and immigrants who participate in our training program. To date, we have 43 chefs in our network from 11 countries around the world, have run hundreds of events and reached thousands of community members. And 90% of our chefs are women, for the majority. This is their kind of first form of professional development in the United States. For many of them, through the course of the pandemic, they were the sole breadwinners. The time we wrote the grant, we sort of emphasized the dual challenges of response to COVID as well as the crisis in Afghanistan. As you all know, in the last couple months, the war in Ukraine has begun, and we have another refugee crisis that's already touching the UN. And so we're seeing record numbers of Afghan families resettled thanks to our partners at IRIS. Anticipate that Ukrainian families will be arriving soon. So these funds are really going to help Sanctuary Kitchen expand our training program at a critical time so that we are well positioned to welcome new arrivals when they're ready for workforce opportunities in the UN. The majority of the funds requested are going to go directly to refugee and immigrant women in the forms of wages for chefs, trainees, and employees, as well as hiring local translators and interpreters that we rely on really heavily. So I'll stop there and just thank you for the opportunity to consider our application. We understand that the recommendation has been at about a third of what we requested, and we really appreciate the committee's consideration for these 2 requests.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Any members of the committee have any questions? Mr. Coach.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You mentioned that you had 43 chefs throughout the network. Sorry, tell everybody else. Are these on a volunteer basis, or what type of stipend do they work? What kind of pay?
Yeah, so we welcome cohorts of women to the program, and they're paid above market wages to participate in training. So we have a whole curriculum of culinary training, ESL programming. We partner with youth and adult education, job readiness, and professional skills, as well as working hours in the kitchen as well. So they are paid for their time in training as well as for being employees of the organization.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for presenting. I just have one quick question. Do you have an idea of how many WIC or SNAP recipients are in the market?
I can pull that number for you in terms of individual transactions. I know that last year was about $56,000. We did see the average SNAP per transaction go up because we were at cap, because we really wanted people to be able to buy as much as possible during COVID. So previously it was $10. I think the average transaction last year was closer to 50, but I have to look that up for you. And I wish I had it number of.
Chef.
Oh, okay. I'll send that.
Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You mentioned permitting costs with the city and the Board of Education. Can I go on?
Oh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You mentioned permitting costs with the city and the Board of Education. Do you have a rough sense for what the total number was for permitting costs last year?
I could look that up for you as well. I do think that it increased when we moved the market from the Worcester Square Market from Russo Park to Ponte West. Since it's a Department of Education property, I think some of that has to do with the need to employ security guard on site. So I know that our permitting costs have increased pretty significantly over the last 2 years, especially.
And is that part of the request to this committee? Is that part of the budgeted request?
We did include it in the budget.
And you answered my question about the amount of SNAP dollars. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you.
The other members of the committee have any questions? Mr. Coach.
Thank you. So how many farmers markets do you have in Mississippi right now?
So currently, we, for this upcoming season, we'll have 4. We also run one year round as a winter market. When COVID hit, we kind of had to cut back because of suitable locations, and it just got more expensive to run farmers markets, because of the equipment and staffing required to do so. So last year we added 1 back, this year we're adding 2 back. So it's slowly coming back.
And the Q houses, the newest.
Yes.
The new baby.
Yeah, we were really thrilled to be invited to that operation. And we're going to start it. I think that please join us.
Thank you.
No more questions. Any other members of the committee? Questions? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you all so much.
Clifford here,
Page 75.
page 75. Here's. Community Action Agency,
Also 75.
also page 75. Please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. Can you hear me? Hi, my name is Janelle Lawson, and I'm the Deputy Director of Community Action Agency. I'm holding. Okay, thank you. Let's try this again. Hi, my name is Janelle Lawson. Hi, I'm Janelle Lawson. Got it right there. I'm the Deputy Director and Vice President of Human Resources at Community Action Agency, and I have my colleague Tiffany Robinson with me.
And our address is 419 Windy Avenue.
So as you may know, Community Action Agency of New Haven is the second largest nonprofit, and we serve over 9,550 families last year in a 9-month period. And of that 9,500, 286 were participants in our financial literacy program. And we made a request to expand our program because due to COVID and different funding we received, the income guidelines have increased, and we've seen a surge of New Haven residents coming that needed our services. So with the financial literacy program, we're able to help clients reach self-sufficiency by helping them understand finances. Because many of them face barriers in understanding how to write it once they get them. And Tiffany is going to share the stats.
I just wanted to share with you all that all of our agencies serve private contractors in the state. Primarily, clients from this program are from 06511, 12, 13, and 15. And we actually hope to increase those who serve in New Palmville, downtown. They primarily actually come from Dixwell, Hill South, Fairhaven, and we hope to increase our population that we serve in Woolly Chapel.
Thank you very much. Any questions from you at this time? Seeing none, thank you. Comment around. 82. 82.
Maybe as well. I do the field trips.
Oh.
She had a wonderful thing.
Did you name that as the record?
Holding the trick.
No, E2. Perfect. E2.
Hi, I'm David Gerard. I am representing on my own 358 Sparkside Avenue. I am the program coordinator of the Kids and Children program, which is what the CDBG grants for. Kids on the Block is an after-school program where kids all across the Haven and outside the community can come and spend time outdoors in nature. Right now, we service about 120 kids. We have about 24 kids every day, from around 3 to 5:30 at night. And we do activities such as farm work, wood shop, free play in the forest, and many other activities involving outdoor education. We've been running this program for over 20 years, and we even run it through the pandemic with a slightly reduced group size, but we ran it with full capacity throughout the pandemic. With this grant, we would like to expand our program to service up to 160 families. And with the money from the grant, we hope to put aside half of those spaces for engaging students and families. So that we have 80 spaces per week. And with the money, we would also reduce tuition for engaging residents. And we also hope to bring in moderate, low, and very low income families and students because Haven needs to reduce racial and socio-economic isolation through some of the after-school programs, and we hope to bring in a more diverse set of students in our program with that. We also hope to help with transportation. That's another need for the community here in Haven is transportation. Because not everyone can leave school or leave their work and pick up their kids and make them to the program. So with the funding, we also hope to start our busing program again. We started it again this year with one school, St. Thomas State School. We hope to partner more with all those schools that we have. And we hope to partner with up to 3 or more schools to get students on yellow school buses to come to our program. With that, I'll stop there.
All right, Alderman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have 1.5 questions. Your numbers, what are your numbers currently?
We're
Look like- Oh, sorry, I got a big mouth.
You're good.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, currently, what do your numbers look like for participants from New Haven and also minorities?
For New Haven, I can't off the top of my head give the numbers, that would be the director of the program, but I know we're around 50%, maybe a little under, maybe 40%. And as for our breakdown, our program is about 65% Caucasian white, and about 45% non-white community.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Vice Chair Winter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is it 65% Caucasian, is that correct?
Yes.
And with the new program, you mentioned reduced tuition, what would the tuition be? And how long is the program?
Okay, the program is for the entire school year for next year, so it'll be from September to May or June. And right now, we're offering the price of $520 for out of the residents. And for if you're a resident, we're able to offer $160 with up to 75% off for low and very low.
75% off of
160.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Co-Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You talked about busing, transportation. What source of transportation do you have at present time for kids? What are your plans?
Currently, we have no transportation except for that one bus that we coordinated with St. Thomas School. But with this, we hope to have funds to coordinate with schools that are, right now we're looking at schools that are close by, so they come down with us to get to our program. We're looking at like Fred Rogers, Beecher School, and a couple other schools that are around to get students from their schools to our program.
So will you be using the school bus system in place here in New England right now?
Yeah, I would, yeah, the school buses, yellow buses.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I might have missed this, but what are the hours of the program?
The hours of the program right now are 3 to 5. 5:25. 5:25.
Any other questions? All under this, Vice Chair. Under this.
If you know, where are the children coming from now?
Right now, they're coming from all over New Haven and outside of New Haven. Our numbers, we generally serve our surrounding communities. This would be, right now, it's mainly like the West Rock community. We also have Edgewood communities. We also have Beaver Hills, and then a variety of other communities from Haven.
And if I may, Chair, and where else, besides the major location, what are their surrounding towns or areas that that's coming from?
We have Orange, Camden, East Haven, and probably some kids from Woodbridge, Kirby, the surrounding community.
Thank you.
Mr. Wiltshire.
Take your time.
So in regards to who's there, you said Beaver Hills, and I heard you mention Beaver Hills, West Hills, West Rock. Edgewood, you did say. How have you been advertising this program? How's that been?
From my understanding, we've been advertising, we have a local market, for our common organization, so we advertise our organizing events. We also, have gone in the past to schools, to like open houses and advertise. During our field trips, we kind of acquired our school program. Generally, that's how we're doing community outreach. Oh, and like an email. As in, what department, but it's doing experience.
Public schools has been put out.
Oh, yes. Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
One final question, Mr. Chair. If you were to be granted, who would you, I hear what my chair is saying, and so we're asking, I'm gonna ask you specifically, in New Haven, have you reached out to the Board of Education in New Haven
And granted, what are you going to do to be able to have more children from the New Haven sector involved in this program? I want to hear what future plans are to, you obviously have other cities in New Haven, have alders here, we have 30 wards, and so what are your plans to let us all know what you're doing, how many people are you focused on? Because, you know, we'd love to bring you back so we can hear how many New Haven residents are.
I can't directly speak to the means of we've contacted the board. But through the money of if we were to get the grant, we would like to bring in additional kids from the schools. So that's why we are really pushing the yellow school bus thing, because in the past, we used to get a decent bit of our students from the schools, and we had 5, 6 buses sometimes that would drop off per day. And we would like to get more students from those schools right now. Because right now we're serving a community where parents are able to come pick up kids they can. We have also like DCAP that comes with a couple other ways that people are getting to us. But with this, we hope to prioritize the yellow school bus. And get more students from the whole school system whose parents can't bring them to common ground, so that they can get outdoors and get an experience for that. So maybe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Not a problem, Mr. Willoughby, all of them. That's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Edgar. Thank you all. Chair, appreciate you. Just a quick question. Can you hear me now? Yes. Thank you so much. How you doing, Mr. Robbins? I'm good. Good. I heard you say BBM. I heard you say future. Roughly, how many students you think you have or participating in the program for future in the
Right now, my numbers say about 10-15% of the leader hills. I don't know exactly from the school teacher, but right now I have about 50%.
If there's any way that I can be a part of the information that you can do over there, you can reach out to me. I don't know if you have a card. I'll, I do a call. So let me know how I
Yeah, I would love to hear our information.
Any other questions, members of the committee? I don't, maybe it's a suggestion question. But I just want to know this for staff. I'd like to follow up with the program and communication. But I don't know, services or service, I don't know where. I have further questions because in your presentation, I heard you kind of pose a problem, which is you're trying to increase that diversity. And I don't know that it's an appropriate setting for me to feedback. There's something, I think we're sensing some follow-up. I feel so. I think I'm feeling that. Yeah, okay. So we're going to request, it won't have anything to do with this, we're not affecting this, just for a side, we'd like to further have a question, maybe get rid of the director, kind of help you, address what I heard was that, we can't make any promises on this, because as you saw, we've been presented with an increase in funding.
Yeah.
So, but there may be other things to be said, so just through staff to you, we will be following. All right, okay. Any other questions, Mr. Co-Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't know if you stated the age group, the grades.
No.
Is it high school only?
It is this not?
Did you press the button?
I don't think I did.
Just spell it
All
out.
right, it's ages 3 to 13. It's not high school, it's ages 3 to 13, or 4 to 13, I'm sorry, 4 to 13.
Thank you.
You need to go into, you need to be going into kindergarten as of the start of the school year in order to be eligible, but there are a couple 4-year-olds who are going into kindergarten. Yeah, sorry, that was a good catch, thank you, sir.
Okay. Any questions from members of the committee?
Thank you for the follow.
Thank you.
Hopefully not.
All right.
Goodwill.
Goodwill Industries,
Page 78.
page 78. Goodwill Industries. All right, inspired communities.
There's two applications, both on page 8.
You represent two applications. You can say their name, addresses, or.
Test, no, testing.
It's on.
It's on.
No, turn it on.
Okay.
So you that's that to me. It's back on now.
All right, so I should, what's that to?
Don't touch it.
Okay. Kim Harris. Kim Harris, 29 Landry Street, New Haven, Connecticut. Good evening to all. Nina Fawcett.
Turn it up the other way.
Nina Fawcett. So it's five communities. Can you have your capital? So
No,
welcome.
can you just hold the microphone like this?
Gotcha.
No.
No, edit, yeah.
Bring this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm down.
There you go.
You don't have to hold your arm up.
There you go.
I'm board chair for the five communities. And it is the treasurer for the five communities. Take a deep breath. See what we got.
We're proud.
Yes. Yes.
We're all good.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for helping us to lift up our community involvement. Funding is vastly, it's greatly needed. So I'm in the child care issue. And what I've noticed over the years is that there aren't enough programs, especially in the ones that are greatest underserved neighborhoods in New Haven, that service the gaps. And when I say the gaps, I'm talking about vacation time, after 3 o'clock, or maybe after 5 o'clock, weekends, holidays. How do we keep lifting our students up and keeping things happening for them? Really embedding the mind with things that will enrich their life. So we started something that would not only lift our children up, but lift our adults up. We have a program that we call it Enrichment Experience. And what we do with Enrichment Experience, we say this. Okay, we know that coming into childcare, that's not something that most people want to do. They don't want to work 7, 8, 9, 10 hours a day to do that. But most of us don't mind coming in a couple hours, once a week, twice a week, and teaching their strength and their skill to help uplift the community. So with our program, it's a training program. We say, come on in, we're going to give you skills, curriculum building, things of that nature, so that you can come out into our community and enrich kids in our community with the things that you know. We ran a program this summer, past, and I'm going to speak some numbers because I think those are the things that you really like to do. We ran it from the time the kids were out of school until the time they went into school. We did it from 7 in the morning to 7 in the evening. We did breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The biggest thing we noticed is that these kids, they don't have any food. So we had to find funding to really embed food into our program so that we can really keep the kids there. We know that when they went home, basically they take a bath and then come back the next day. So we trained these enrichment educators in our Adult Institute. And what they did was, they said, oh, wow, okay, I know how to do this. And I didn't know how to do curriculum lines. So that's what we taught. We taught them how to build their skills into a curriculum and come back into our community and teach that in our community. And the kids were the enrichment labs. So what we noticed is we can service a side of New Hall Middle because that's what we were. We were able to use a side. We have a new space coming on board. But we need to take this program to the community, a deeper thought into the community. So now we're going to go to 10 different locations in New Hall. We're going to bring this because here's what the numbers say. We serviced 37 children this past summer. Those are the ones that were registered with the program. We had a lot more, we couldn't get any registration that hard. 75% of them were from New Hall Middle, 95% from the Navy. The adults that are going to graduate from the program this year, we had 8 that enrolled, 7 that graduated, that are going to graduate. 6 graduates, 4 from New Hall Middle, overall 5 are from the Navy. We have 2 tracks, the enrichment educators that fill in the gaps, where we need those gap times for the people, for the kids. And then we have the other that says, you know, if somebody needed us, we can go and help them. We can help serve them so that they can keep their programs going. So we have a projection for 2022, 2023. Our goal is to have 10 adults enrolled into the program so we can service more kids in the community. And by us going to the kids, to these locations, to businesses, we hope to service 200 children in the New Hall Middle. It doesn't mean that they're necessarily all from New Hall Middle, but they touch New Hall Middle. So we're not limiting it to New Hall Middle, but we're saying that if you're in the area and you're looking for some enrichment in your life, we can provide it. We're the ones that are going to be able to serve you, host you, and bring something to you that is going to change the narrative and scope of how we live.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Any questions from members of the committee? Alder Smith or Alder?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have one question about the adult program. You talked about the amount of graduates and people enrolled and sending them to other programs or sites is what I picked up on. How does that work? And like, how are the sites selected that you're sending them to? And how are they selected?
So they have to be licensed, right? That means that they've gone through all the OEC, Office of Early Education process. Somebody might say, hey, Kim, Ms. Kim, can you send somebody who might be good at cooking into our program and enrich our kids with a cooking skill? And we say yes, because we've been funded so we can help. We can help other programs. So we might send an enrichment educator to go down with a master teacher. They'll go into somebody else's program. They might be here for 30, 40 minutes, and they'll give them a cooking skill, or a dance skill, or an art skill. But even better yet, how about somebody who makes shoes?
So let me just make sure I'm understanding this. Within your program, you have the people that are already licensed or are master educators along with your graduates, or does the graduation get your enrollees some kind of license?
So our enrollees, they get something called a CDA, a Child Care Development Associated certificate. So what that does is, not only are they coming in, because they don't need that to be with us, right? But now they can go start their own business and go into any licensed daycare and say, guess what? I have this certificate. And they cannot even offer the minimum wage. So now we're talking about lifting the people up with more than minimum wage. Our teachers that come on board, that graduate from this program, they're doing at least $20 an hour. And if they go deeper into it and get more education or more classes, they can make up to $25, $30 an hour based on what we get in our funding.
Can I ask a part 2, please? Or 2.5? B? Okay. So thank you for that answer. Is the is that the only track that's associated with your certificate programs, the CDA, or do you have like another track for the participants?
So the next track would be an AA, an associate degree. And then after the associate degree, if they choose to do more, it will be the bachelor's program. So through the Office of Early Childhood,
there's some scholarship funding out there. And we hope that, maybe we can build back better, things of that nature. We're gonna be able to offer more. We're gonna infuse this workforce.
Okay, I think that's all I have for now, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Alder Echelon Smith, and then Alder Winnick.
Hello.
I was hoping that you could speak to the importance of programs such as these in the new Aldo area, taking into consideration the almost siloed environment and lack of resources and quality programming by and large in the new Aldo area.
You are so right, yes, so right. If we listen to a lot of the folks who've spoken here, how many have said, oh, I'm gonna be a New York. Okay, very, very, very few. And what we have in Newcastle without programs like this is really a feeder system to the nefarious elements in New York. And they're there. I'm going to tell you there's a new gang in town called Silverback Gorillas, and you're part of the Bloods. I'll tell you there are Reed and New Hall right here in my house. So we have to start early. We have to get these kids involved. We have to get these kids thinking more creatively, knowing there's something else to go to, that there's hope. And I know we have 4 elders who know. So I'm hoping you guys say a little something, there are programs. We don't even have a place for kids to go. There's no place. So without programs like this, they're just gonna sit around. And what happens when kids sit around and have nothing to do? Right. Well, go have someone so you learn to do carry something to something, right? We don't want that. And this is the beginning. And that's why we really do need as much as you guys can let loose for us. Because we're not only helping the adults, we're helping the kids. And these kids are going to come home with some new ideas. And don't you think they're going to tell their brothers and sisters and their parents about new ideas and get them thinking. So it's really a system that we're trying to build, and that's to bring people up and make them able to do it for themselves, not just hand them out, hand them money. That doesn't do any good to anyone. We want to expose people to new, different ideas. I just want to say one more thing to that. It's really important for us to create things within our own community. We don't have that. And this is the start of what's going to happen in terms of us creating programs that stem from our community and lead our community to this next generation of being able to keep creating programs and developing programs right within our own community.
Mr. Bosher, oh, sorry. No.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for your services. Truly, it's a blanket in all our sitting there, but it's the truth of the matter. Sometimes we bigger lane, it gets a spot. So I get it. My question is, one, how do you get into the program and how long?
Repeat that, please.
How do you get into the program and how long is the program?
So we start when school is out. The school is out. We do that 1 week off. I think it's the 4th of July. We put the 4th of July only because we're turning things over to get ready for it. But we hit Lincoln Bassett School. We get advertising out to there. At every event that we do, the flyers that we hand out to make sure this New Hawkville community management team is always sending out a blast. We now have a New Hawkville community strong sending out a blast on things that are happening. But we also realize that a lot of people don't have access to the digital things happening. So there's a lot of street walking, a lot of street talking, and it's rural. because that's the kind of work we have to do. We have a lot of work. We're trying to make sure that every household is touched. Yes, yes. So we're heading to the talking to teachers. And we passed by on Sundays without seeing the little streets.
Yeah, so it's I don't know, try to stay germane to the topic, but I have to say, you know, everybody thinks the key house is the answer. That's it, right? But that's not all of them, right? We need more services for that. So thank you for what you're doing. And you just keep doing what you're doing, you know, I've been around, so. Thank you.
Other questions? Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I see here says 31 Lambert Street. Is that some of the house that you're working on right now?
31 Lambert Street is my first floor. It's better that my mail comes there. We have a new space that's coming. It's 324 Shelton Avenue. Oh, sorry. 31 Lambert Street, mail.
324 Shelton.
So that is where the old laundromat used to be. Remember the old flower shop laundromat?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's how.
Johnson's,
Yes.
flower shop.
Yes.
Yeah.
It took us 2 years to really talk and to let us come in and utilize the space. So we're in, we are paying rent on the space, we do some things there. It's not ready yet, but we're gonna be working hard this summer to have it up and going as our inspired center space for training. Just a space that you people can come to.
That's great. Not a question, but just comment. Coming up in New Haven, back in the day, it was a community center in every neighborhood, maybe on every other corner. Brings our team center,
Yes.
the meeting center,
That's right.
the district community house, the soul station, the Columbus house, you name it, and it kept us up. So I get it, I get what you're doing, and I commend you on it, and I'm looking forward to supporting it any way that I can. Thank you. Thank you.
So all the vice chair wants her, and then
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for your presentation. You mentioned the space on Shelton Avenue. Will that be the primary location?
Yes.
And then you also mentioned an effort to do 10 different locations.
Yes.
How will that work?
So
How will you pick the location?
So we invite some camps there, and we've all been that we know of. Concat has a camp. There's Leap has a camp. There's churches that run camps. We're going to be going to their spaces and presenting our summer program to them. So we've been working with the children on something called social determinants of health. Believe it or not, we just learned that terminology. And we've been working with the kids on what that is. So the kids have it down. Their minds are like sponges. And we're going to be going to these different programs, the churches and some other camps. And we're going to be talking about social determinants of health from a kid's point of view. And we're bringing in a program that just wanted to collaborate with us. It's called Monitor Your Health. We're going to come in and we're going to be talking about healthy foods and cooking. One of the social determinants of health, lack of food. So we're really, really happy to be able to go from one end of New Orleans to the other. Whoever will have us come and sit in front of your business, your church, your property, with a tent and a table, and introduce who we are and what we're doing to lift our community up.
And is there any cost for participants?
No cost at all.
Okay,
We figured it out.
put that up there. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
what else? Inspired, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Mary Wade. Page 82, page 82.
state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, my name is David Hunter. I'm the president and CEO of Mary Way Community Living Section 280. Our draft proposal is for weekend and medical transportation in the New Haven area. It does meet your objectives, the city's goals, goal 7, with respect to supporting health and wellness of individuals and families. For public safety, we're requesting $19,172 for a total project cost of just under $7,500. Now, this is a program that is provided to the seniors of our area who are do not have Medicaid assistance, who are over the age of 60 years old, and who need transportation to and from a doctor's office or dentist. And on weekend transportation would be to centers of worship or grocery shopping, other types of shopping. We've been doing this for a number of years. We've been great in supporting us. It's a very complicated program because it is funded by multiple federal and state sources. So it's very complicated to make sure that the funds are put in the right place. So for this reason, we're asking for the CDBG funds from CDBG.
Thank you. Any questions from the rest of the committee? All good.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was going to just talk about the population that served, so the demographics and even beyond the traditional population that we know.
The majority, the bulk of our transportation is centered around the Hill, Fairhaven, and Fairhaven Heights. I was looking at some of the demographics in our proposal just while I was sitting back there, and I didn't think Mary Wade was after C, so here we are. So I would just say, anecdotally that these are older adults. They don't have transportation on their own. They rely on public transportation. And in the cases, if you've got older parents and they need to get to the doctors, sometimes it's problematic. The transportation that's available is long and waiting for rides. This is an individualized program. The drivers have cell phones. The doctor's offices have those phones. And when the residents are ready to be picked up, the driver goes right to them. So there's very minimal waiting. And it's important. We've had a number of our riders who are pretty severe diabetics and need to have food or medications, and so and we transport people from the office to the home. So our drivers are putting folks back into their houses, and in many cases, the spouse does not need to come with us because of the way that the tailored service that we provide. We're able to get into the house and say, Joe needs something to eat right away. So I feel like I'm just rambling and not answering your question.
No, that's helpful.
The statistics are in here. And we are trying to develop a new partnership. So, of course, the last 2 years of COVID, it's been very problematic to develop some partnership, but we have been working with Casa Canal, the towers. We started up again with the towers, doing some transportation for them. The Haven Psychiatric Hospital and Veterans, working with
Yes, so can you just explain exactly what is the issue? How many vehicles do you have? How many drivers do you have? What are you looking for?
We have 10 vehicles. We have about 8 drivers. And we are looking for funding from the CDBG grant for the $19,000 that will pay for the actual drivers. These are trained drivers with certification to drive these vehicles who receive training in first aid and training in dealing with people with Alzheimer's and other dementia, so that they can be effective in working with folks. That answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Any other questions from members of the committee? Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for your presentation. Maybe, yeah. How does this program overlap or not overlap with like the My Ride service?
It is another service other than My Ride. My Ride, from what I understand, you have to have a 24-hour before you transport. They are curb to curb, from my understanding. You have to get out there, both cases, which is problematic. And there are long waits to get picked up. So if you're sitting in the doctor's office for 2 hours, or 3 hours, it's a long time. Unless you're isolated at home, I don't know, maybe the socialization. Maybe that's helpful, I don't know. Ours is different in that we take folks into the town and take them into the doctor's office. The doctor's office has a cell phone of the driver. The driver is called directly by the driver goes to the doctor's office and picks up the ride. So I would say we're much more personalized because we're rooted in healthcare environment. Our drivers have that training, and they're not driving, they're working with seniors within our community. And I feel as though they have a affinity for taking care of the needs of other people.
Thanks, that's helpful. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions from members of the committee? Seeing yes, all of them were tomorrow.
How many seniors you all serve?
This past year that we recorded was 250 riders. In many cases, there were 250 riders, but we transport them multiple times. So one person we could probably transport 20 times during the course of the year, for example.
Thank you. And just one more question. 8 drivers, are you seeking at all to expand area for pickup?
Yes, we're definitely expanding this year. We've just hired we've established a new position this year, and we've hired someone in the position is called the Director of Community Transportation. Many people know it's Patty Stussel. She knows many people in the Maven area, which is one of the reasons why we brought her on board. Because of the relation. And so yes, definitely we can reach out to to the people that need it, communicate with them, both English and Spanish. So this last 2 years, it's between COVID and having a catalytic converter stolen virtually every one of our vehicles. It's just been a challenge here for us. People don't want to go to the doctors because they don't want to be exposed. Doctors don't want to see people. It's been we all know where we've all been.
Any other questions, members of the committee? Seeing none, thank you so much. All of you.
Thank you all. Thank you for what you all do.
YMCA.
Page 84.
Page 84.
please say your name and address for the record.
I'm Alicia Bryce from the New England YMCA Youth Center. We are located at 50 House Street, New Haven, Connecticut. I am presenting for a program we're attempting to launch for probably the third year now for aquatic leaders and a Learn to Swim program. This program has a goal of teaching approximately 50 youth throughout this year coming up how to swim all the way through getting guard training and having the life skills of safety around water, and of course, a job opportunity. We have currently 5 participants who are in that program, 2 of which who recently graduated and are now our lifeguards for summer camp, which we're really excited to see. We are looking to have participants between the ages of 15 to 25 specifically in this program. Although we do teach swim lessons for all ages, from all the way from age 3 on out. Our goal this time around is focusing on our high school participants and our older adolescents, just so we can make sure we're getting that catch all the individuals as we try to make sure we're serving all young adults in the city of New Haven. The goal of 50 came from the cost that we're looking to cover, which is approximately going to be about $36,000 to cover a portion of the funding for that. The total budget, I believe, is listed at $73,000 in order to do staffing for both lifeguards, instructor training, and then all the supplies that are needed for them. They would be certified lifeguards is the goal by the end of this project. So that will hopefully address both our problem and the city's problem with being short on lifeguards, but also give our youth job skills that they wouldn't necessarily get the opportunity to have previously. The goal of this program is for it to be 100% free for any of the participants we have.
Any questions for members of the committee? Alderman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can we talk about the pool in general, like to what extent it's accessible to the community and under what circumstances?
So our pool currently is just recently opened. We were down for the pandemic, and then because of course, the current shortage of lifeguards, we are open for certain programming. Our current programs for preschool do swim lessons and swim acclimation. Our after school program is open swim, and then older youth walking program does open swim as well. And then we do partner with a couple individuals in the community, mostly being St. Margaret Courts Academy. There's been another church or two that have come in to do swimming programs, and then most recently Hamden Board of Education, and probably adult education, I apologize. They do their swimming lesson program in our pool as well. So we will look to do that program as well with the New Haven adult education program, because we've had some interest kind of laid out there about adult swimming lessons and active older adults programming. So we are trying to expand, but it'll come down to lifeguards and swim instructors who are certified. So we've been trying to certify our own, and this program will help us do that. Great, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for presenting. I'm a little bit familiar with this, just a little, with this whole program, but you've been doing a great job. It's always like 5 to 5. I see the kids on the steps, week in, week out, getting ready. So this is a good start. In reference to the total amount, right? The 7334, right? We're a long way away, right? From what the mayor has proposed, right? And as our chair has put out to everyone that we have a reduction, right? In reference to the street fund. What is something that no, we can't promise. But what will support this mission? Because I know y'all do a lot of fundraising and stuff like that. So what would be a more support?
So traditionally, the Overuse Walking program is 100% free. We have never charged a membership fee or a program fee to any participant in the program. Our funding through both our annual campaign and the different community partners, United Way, currently we have additional overseas funding. So that difference that we're already talking about and what we're requesting versus what the budget will actually require is already going to be made up within what we have to support them from other programming. So we're not looking that everything's going to come from one location, but we have to invest in our participants and in our community. This is going to be something that then enriches our programming and then therefore the community programming as well. I think it's a very, very important thing. I've always said we need to push out more life skill development and job training and things of that nature for the participants in our program, and this is our step one. So no matter what, the funding will find its way, even if it has to come from some different pots that are not necessarily as set and dry. That's all.
Thank you for the detailed response. Thank you so much.
Any other members? Vice Chair Winter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you. Do you have numbers on like neighborhood breakdown, New Haven versus outside New Haven breakdown of participants?
So we have no outside New Haven participants.
Okay.
So we are New Haven only. This year, past year, it's 220 were the number of participants. We are currently at active members, 172. Active participants in the older youth basketball programs that are dropping. So we do not get to see them every single day. But they come and they know that we're there and the days were scheduled, and they know they're coming freely. Oh, they just sign in, as long as their parents have given them the green light to go, they're under a team. They know we're there, they come out no matter what. But all of our participants are New Haven residents. I very rarely found that we've gotten someone who's coming from out of the city of New Haven, and it may just be a visiting situation, and they wouldn't necessarily consider one of our participants. They'd be a visitor.
And neighborhood level, do you have any sense for where in the city people are coming from?
The BoA neighborhood is our main area, but we do take anyone from anywhere. So it doesn't matter. We are centered right in the middle of the BoA neighborhood. So when we do after school programming, preschool programming, the majority of our participants come from that neighborhood and then grow into our older youth blocking program or have older siblings who can learn about our program through the younger ones.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions from members of the committee? Seeing that, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Good to see you. Project More.
Page 85 and 86.
Page 85 and 86. City Committee to address this program.
The other one.
This way.
No. No.
Yeah.
Georgia Human Resources Project More.
Keisha Gaddison, Director of the Reentry Welcome Center at Project More, 830 Grand Avenue. I will start. I'm here representing the Reentry Welcome Center at Project More. We provide services for individuals returning home from incarceration. We provide case management services and assistance with finding access to housing immediately post-incarceration, access to services for substance use disorder, for mental health disorders, for physical health elements, access to services for employment. We have an on-site career resource specialist who places our clients with employment, as well as vets employers to be sure that they understand the benefits of hiring individuals post-incarceration. We provide clothing, food, and basic needs backpacks to our clients as well. But most importantly, we provide them with comprehensive case management services to help them steer the path back to reintegrate into New Haven. We have submitted this application a couple of times. We've only been in existence since January of 2021, happily so. Since that time, we have served, for the first year, we served 355 individuals returning home from incarceration. That includes people on probation, parole, as well as individuals who are at the end of their sentence, and those who have been in our community for quite some time, but may be experiencing some changes in life and need a little bit of assistance to get back on the path that they need to. As of this year, we've served 135 people approximately. We serve every neighborhood in New Haven and its touching towns, although less than 6% of our clientele are from any town outside of New Haven. So most of them are New Haven residents or placed in New Haven, but they're returning from facilities all over the state of Connecticut. Right now, we're looking for pretty much for gap funding for operations to help fund the salaries for the director, which is myself, our career resource specialist, and our peer support specialist. We actually have 5 staff right now. We employ peer support specialists on a regular basis. We have 2 peer support specialists, 2 case managers, and a social worker case manager as well as a director. And we're looking to continue our programming. It's been quite successful. Our recidivism rate for the Reentry Welcome Center has been roughly about 12% at this point, based upon rearrest. And in the city of New Haven, as we may know, the recidivism rate is roughly around 60%. So our program is working. We're finding that clients that have access to housing and access to employment primarily can find the most stability and be able to navigate through the other issues that they're dealing with. So we respectfully request that the city continue its support of our program, which we've received so much support from the city already. And we thank you for your time and listening to our proposal.
Second program we have is what I call our aftercare community service program. This is working out of our halfway house. Clients that discharge, parole, and living in aid will continue working with staff in the additional 12 to 20 weeks. This is to see if they run into any issues, any problems while they're out there, whether it's employment related, whether it's conflict, drug or alcohol related, or it's housing. We have staff on site that's able to work with them, along with their parole officers. We can't force them to come back with us, but with the help of the parole officers, towards us. Our community service program is utilized for the residents to give back to the community. In the course of the year, we'll have anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000 of community service. We'll work with programs such as the Community Food Bank, the Boys and Girls Club, various churches in the New Haven area. Every year we do the Festival of Lights. We'd like to be able to continue this. The program has served almost 600 individuals since it's been in operation. Those are the plans we have to home neighborhoods and right area. Questions?
Okay, I actually have a ton of information for staff. Maybe Dr. Potentially. Do we still have the reentry department? They are.
Would you like me to come up?
Yeah, because this is kind of new. Fully trusted.
Good evening, I'm Administrator New Haven. To answer your question, our physical reentry sort of navigation center that used to be one sixty is no longer active. All of the activities have been transferred over to Project More to provide this comprehensive product that's got.
Thank you so much. That's very obviously important as we see, due to the recommendation that's here. This is how this works. Okay, questions, comments, members of the committee, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Over what time period is the 60% recidivism rate measured? I know you all have been open for about 2 years, right? Is that correct? Or 1 year, 1 year.
We've actually been open since January of 2021. So that recidivism rate that I know of is the recidivism rate for the city, and it's measured over the course of 3 years, is my understanding. Our recidivism rate as of April 30th of this year is 12%. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Alderman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. When you talk about referrals, how people come to the program, whether they're court mandated or what the process is?
That's a very good question. So our referrals, primarily for those that are returning from incarceration, those referrals come directly from the Department of Corrections. We are able to speak directly to the clients while they're still incarcerated. Usually a couple of weeks pre the weeks, we can speak to them, conduct an intake, and get an idea of what services they may be needing, and then set them up with services as early as the day of their release. Those are the primary referrals. I'd say probably about 8%. The remainder of them come through various organizations such as probation, parole. We have the other residential services at Project More, Project Longevity, Project Safe Neighborhood, Connecticut VIP, the police department, the Connecticut Bail Fund. The list goes on and on, various service providers. And just to elaborate on that, we have a bi-weekly reentry care team meeting, which is composed of approximately 23 service providers who all serve the reentry population. And we discuss issues that are plaguing our population on a bi-weekly basis and try to support one another. You're welcome.
Mr. Coach.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't want to sound silly, but the population that you service, I've never seen or hear anything about female. Give me a little bit about that, please.
Absolutely. So we have male and female. We accept male and female clients. I will say that our female population is far less than our male population. We do have a women's peer support group. We have programming directly targeted towards women, but the releases for women are far less than they are for men. And just to give you an example, for our first year of operation, we serviced, I said, 355 individuals, 11 of them were female. I will say that number is increasing because I just ran the number the other day. As of April 30th, we've already serviced for this year 10 females. So we're already almost at our number that we were at full capacity for last year. So I do believe there are increase in the referrals.
Thank you. I was really concerned about that. Seeing that in the conversation.
That was actually my question. Thank you.
Any other members of the committee have any questions? I briefly heard of a collaboration with the Economic Development Department concerning providing business training certification for folks re-entering into our society. I was wondering, do you all have that partnership? And if so, how has that been? Are there any numbers to share, any success stories?
I don't have numbers off the top of my head on that one, but I will say we have had that collaboration. We have a couple of clients I've spoken directly to who have been sent to that with ideas. The two that I can think of off the top of my head that I spoke to recently had developed business ideas while they were incarcerated and were released with that excitement about starting a business. So I believe that's still in progress. The one thing I will say that happens with our clients, we are a unique population. When they're released, they need jobs immediately. And so sometimes looking at the small business concept may be protracted because they need income for startup and income to sustain other issues that they're dealing with.
Any other, Vice Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just looking at the range of services you provide, what's the largest gap that your organization faces in trying to serve clients?
I'm looking at John to say with me. Housing.
Okay, that's what I thought you were going to say, but
temporary.
What does that look like in terms of trying to meet? If you've got 300 or 400 clients a year, how does trying to fulfill the housing need play out?
So for the first year, the percentage was about 72% of our clients that were released from incarceration, were released with, without stable housing, I'll say. Basically claiming to be homeless at the time. At this point, this year, we're having the same problem. It seems to be that the margin has increased rather than decreased. When we first launched the program, we had a rapid rehousing program that was funded through the Coalition to End Connecticut Coalition to End Homelessness. That terminated in May of 2021. I'm sorry, May 2021. That program terminated. So initially it was great because individuals were released, and the same day with the rapid rehousing program, they had a place to live. Now it's more difficult. The programs are very much overbooked for placement. It's tough. We are managing, but it's tough, and sometimes that placement requires a little bit of creative thinking to find a place to stay. But I will say this: out of our clients that have recidivated, about approximately 90% of them did not have a stable place to live.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions for the rest of the committee? Seeing none, thank you so much. OIC.
Page 88.
Please state your name and address for the record. Good evening. I am Reverend Robert Mann, Executive Director of the Greater New Haven OIC, which is located at 333 Valley Street in the CDBG application submitted by OIC is seeking funding for training and only directly for training, as well as their salaries or administrative fee. We're seeking funding to do patient care technician training, CNA training, and phlebotomy technician assistant training. As I'm sure you are all aware, there is a shortage of nurses in the state of Connecticut. We are unfortunately still it is therefore critical that we provide nursing services to make the hospitals, home care, healthcare centers to be adequately staffed. The Greater New Haven OIC has been providing healthcare training for over 20 years. Served this community for 55 years. Started since 1967. OIC will appreciate your assistance so that we can provide good, stable employment opportunities for low to moderate income residents. These are good, stable jobs. We place on average about 40 people, good jobs every year. We also have a 95% training completion rate and a similar employment placement. We serve everyone who walks through our doors to the best of our ability. This grant funding will help us expand a new training program, the patient care training program, which provides services that are very much needed, especially at this time. I thank you for this opportunity. Please answer any questions that you have.
Once again, thank you. How many participants you got in the program? As of today?
So far this year, we have 20 completed CNA training, 15 completed phlebotomy technician training, and 2 who have completed patient care technician training. This is
And your outreach to possible recipients has been what? And what fashion have you been reaching out? What's your system? Who do you reach out to? I know I understand, what we all understand is a shortage of nurses. How do we reach these people that may be interested, or how do you even get in touch with people who possibly can fill these unmanned positions?
we reach out to the media, the inner city news, for example, radio, WYDC, channels. But primarily, people come to us because their friends and word of mouth, people have good jobs and they're in our training programs. We have good training programs. And they tell their friends, family members, and so they call us.
And where is the training done?
Right now, our training is primarily at Harvard School of Phlebotomy.
Thank you. That's so good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Alderman Glenn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your presentation. I just had a quick question. So I wanted to share, this is a question. If this programming for CNA training, phlebotomy training, and patient care physician training, is expanded to other funds or CPG funds, would you all be pulling from a wait list, existing pool of people that have already signed up interested, or would able to be another round of doing outreach as well, or yeah?
Actually, both responses that you gave in your question are correct. It would certainly allow us to expand our training, certainly would. And we see community outreach as an ongoing effort.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Any other questions from members of the committee? Seeing none, thank you so much for your
Thank you.
presentation.
Have a nice evening.
All right.
Youth Entrepreneurs,
TD9. TD9.
Low battery.
I'm really excited to be here. I'm also a data native, grew up and born and raised from Fairview.
actually strong schools, Fairhaven is a school, and River Cross. So it is a pleasure to be here. So a little bit about these entrepreneurs. It's a really unique program. What we do is it's cultivating the next generation of leaders. We minority students, particularly African American and Hispanic and Latino, where we're teaching them how to become entrepreneurs. At the same time, we're providing leadership development, mentoring opportunities, and workforce development. And so once again, we're training and we call our participants geniuses. We are igniting the genius inside of them. Our flagship program is actually hosted at Southern Connecticut State University. For many students, it's their first time even being on a college campus. And so giving them that exposure. One of the things that makes our program unique is all about representation. And during our flagship program, we focus on social justice, STEM, and entrepreneurship. Once again, we talked about representation. We want to make sure that our staff reflect our community. So yes, it is hosted at Southern Connecticut State University. And so it's for middle school and high school students, but the high school students are able to stay overnight. With that, it's 5 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks. They're staying overnight on campus to really get that feel of being overnight. And, you know, like I tell some of the students, everything that your parents have taught you, now you have to see for yourself. But this is a great way to really get more of African Americans and Latinos on a college campus. We know that there is low enrollment with minority students on a college campus, and particularly African American males are dropping out of college at an alarming rate. And so during these 6 weeks, what does the program look like? The first week, we talk about social justice, so we bring in community leaders. So now that they can see leaders that look like them in their own community, that will encourage them and talk about social justice and what does it mean to them. Week 2, we focus on STEM. And so part of that, we actually were able to collaborate with Yale University and bring in Black scientists so that once again, we can have representation. We also collaborate with UConn. And so we'll give the students a tour of UConn's campus, and they're able to stay there for the entire day to really see what it's like to be on Stewart campus. And then also being housed at Southern Connecticut University, we do understand that everyone's not going to go to Yale University, but we want to show them a variety of state universities and also UConn. So a very different types of university and college that's here in Connecticut. And so by the 3rd week, they're talking and working with entrepreneurs. We do like to support entrepreneurs that's here locally in New Haven. And so we invite guest speakers, entrepreneurs. We call it Taste of New Haven, where we support minority-owned businesses. Oftentimes our students who are in New Haven Public Schools, they're not able to really eat their foods. So they can kind of enjoy their culture food on this program. And then the last week, we had a pitch competition or presentation where students are able to take everything that they have learned and they're pitching their biggest idea or their project to judges. And most of the judges are entrepreneurs or community leaders that come back and judge our students. The last week is what we call a practicum. The practicum is when students kind of have like this internship job shadowing experience where we can, connect them with entrepreneurs or those who are in the workforce to give them that opportunity of that mentoring leadership development that they can have on a one-on-one basis. That's our flagship program in the summer. And then our after-school programming throughout the year, where we actually are able to collaborate with other organizations that youth development programs such as Canal Boat House, Marrakesh, DCS, foster care, where we're able to provide workforce development programs for them. And so this is a really great opportunity to bring something like this into New Haven. We provide it free
because we do understand that New Haven has a really dynamic population. Your neighbor could be a doctor, and your neighbor on the other side can actually be a custodian. And so we all have really felt the impact of the pandemic. And so we provide free and accessible for New Haven students or New Haven residents, or if you attend New Haven Public Schools. And so I'm happy to have this opportunity to explain more or answer the other questions that you may have.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Is this your first time in this process?
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations. You did it. I think this is the first news or we've heard from that, so congrats. All right, Vice Chair Rodriguez.
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, thank you for that wonderful presentation. Sophie already. So, what else I gotta tell you? What did your staff? I mean,
So our staff is
you
really
keep saying we.
you know, I have a small staff, but we're looking to grow. I think funding will actually help us grow more and have more funding. The good thing about New Haven, we have a lot of emerging leaders and leaders who actually will come and volunteer and support. A lot of my support systems have been New Haven residents. The parents are really engaged in the program. We have teachers that are New Haven public school teachers, social workers that work for BCS that volunteer their time to really make this program happen. But having additional funding will allow us to be able to bring on staff, full-time staff, and just additional staff that can support our needs. One of the things that we also have in this funding, what actually helps, we also collaborate with an autism support group. So students who have special needs can actually attend this program. We want to also be inclusive. So when we talk about underserved communities, we also want to talk about students who have special needs. So having additional funding, we can support that. And we actually were able to have few students who work on the spectrum, the autism spectrum, that's phenomenal in our program.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Rodriguez.
So you talked about the staff. Thank you. In speaking to the students, what have they been part of this?
So one of the things that is on my website, and I have a t-shirt here where we call Generation Genius. And most of the students will say that at first, when they heard the word genius, and probably in our culture, we don't hear that a lot with African Americans and Latinos and Hispanics being called geniuses. And so we kept on calling them geniuses from day one. And one of the students said, in the recording of our testimony was, at first it was kind of weird to be called a genius, but after a while it felt good to be called a genius. And so that's what we empower them, and we want to make sure that they feel empowered. But one of the things that we like to do is not only just empower them, but we want to give them the tools that they need to be successful. I have done some studies on entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship education. And we want to give them entrepreneurial skills and have this entrepreneurial mindset. And one of the things is being creative, solution driven. And we also know that if we keep our young people busy and giving them the access, and that's some of the things that a lot of our students, African Americans and Hispanics, don't have access to colleges or admission, access to, and we also know that everyone will not go to college. So we want to give them these entrepreneurial skills. They may be able to start up their own business, and we have some students who have started their own business. And during the pandemic, this is the time that we know that a lot of young people, especially Generation Z, they have their own companies already, businesses, whether it's selling jewelry, sneakers, something, they're already have this entrepreneurial spirit. This program actually gives them the skills that they need to be sustainable and really just empower them to do even more.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Vice Chair Winter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thanks for your presentation. How many youth did you serve in your last cohort?
So, last summer was our first summer and we were able to, have, I think, say 35, 40 students. And 25 of those students were from New Haven, which we were able to allow them to come on campus, middle school and high school students for free.
And do you have a breakdown, like a neighborhood breakdown for the New Haveners?
I do not have this on me offhand, but we actually, utilized New Haven Public Schools last year. They had this, entrepreneur, they had a fair and a summer program fair. And so we were able to meet all the students there. We actually recruit all students from New Haven and no one particular area over the other.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Alderman. Thank you. Just looking at the survey. The middle post has 0.
Like what?
What you asked me
Oh,
for, this is the first time.
this is my first time.
So she's not totally aware. Oh. Oh.
You have to explain it.